Alrighty, hi everybody. Different kind of video today. Probably something I shouldn't do analytically because I don't know how well the video will do. But I think it's a fun conversation that we should have anyway, because I think it's of interest to quite a lot of people. But on the Facebook group, one of the questions that I see all the time, and in the comment section of my videos, something that people mention all the time is the possibility of expanded Trench Crusade media. Now, obviously, for me, I find that really intriguing because I do like, short stories and fan fiction, I guess. And I'm piecing together a synopsis for a novel. And I know there will be short stories officially from, the writers that we all know about already. And hopefully long term there'll be like official books and things of that nature. But one of the things that regularly comes up, and there was a big kind of flurry around, was the idea of a Trench Crusade video game. And the reason that really kind of got heavy at one point conversationally was because I don't think he's the CEO anymore, but the game director of Helldivers 2 said on Twitter, he was like, I love fucking Trench Crusade. And people were like, oh my God, a Trench Crusade video game would be this shit. So my day job basically is I kind of pretty much play video games for a living. And I was playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And I was really surprised by how much I loved the game. Now, that's not to say I expected the game to be bad. I was hopeful that the game would be good as a big fan of the original trilogy of Indiana Jones movies, which I would argue are probably cinematic quality wise the best trilogy. I don't think there's a dud in there, and I think most other trilogies that people hold up, I can pick a dud of a movie, but I think those first three Indiana Jones movies are not perfection from start to finish, but incredibly well told as a trio of work. So I wasn't sure how I felt about this Indiana Jones game. It felt like it would be an intense challenge for the developers to make it. And when I got in there and I was playing it, it felt like Indiana Jones. It really made a lot of sense, a lot of the design choices that they had made. And it was just like a fantastic game. And it really got me thinking about a Trench Crusade game for some reason. And because maybe I'm wrong about a Trench Crusade game. I have a thing that I think would work and that I would find very nice. And it's based off my biases and, the things that I like to play. But maybe you've got some really cool, interesting takes on stuff. And that's what I'm doing this video for. Ultimately, is I'm doing this one for the comments. I want to know. I know normally you end a video with a call to action, but I want to know what would your ideal Trench Crusade video game be? For the conversation, you can consider yourself to have two video games that you can think about. You can think about that what do you think would realistically get made? So by that I mean game cycles tend to be at least a few years at this point in time. Even for most indie games go through a few year cycle at this moment. So you would need something to be developed, let's call it finished 4 to 5 years from now, assuming an agreement today to start making it. And then the other one is just your absolute dream game. You don't care about the reality of it ever occurring or anything like that, but what would be your absolutely dream game? So I think mine are pretty normal and dull in a way, and that's why I'm making the video, because I know somebody in the comment section is just going to have a really fucking cool idea that is interesting and surprising to me, the same way that this Indiana Jones experience has been. So for me, what I would love would be, I think the realistic take would be something that's loyal to the game as it exists, doesn't blow asset production completely out of the water because you would just need to make everything that they have right now. An XCOM style tactical strategy game, I think, would be just something I absolutely love. Now, it doesn't have to be XCOM style. It doesn't have to be that, like, grid-based thing whatsoever. It could also be like Shogun Tactics, but that level, right? That kind of skirmish, thoughtative, tactical strategy game would, I feel, best represent what Trench Crusade currently is, which is a tactical skirmish game. I think you could have a huge amount of fun with it. I think you could do interesting things with like resource management and a campaign mode, and you could have your PvP. It could be pretty close 1-to-1 in a way with the skirmish game. If you wanted to, you could even do what they did with Baldur's Gate, which is that reproduction of dice rolling within the game. You could have a true kind of, tabletop sim on steroids game. Now, the reason why I always want this is something that I always want from almost every board game, is very strong electronic representation that's loyal to the miniature game or the board game, is because as somebody who deals with illness, it's not very often, if ever, that I would get to play with people face to face. So that would, of course, be very, very interesting to me. Obviously, there's an accessibility issue that would be resolved there, which is cool. But yeah, that would be my that would be a realistic thing I think somebody could take a run at, even right now, even with the world established the way it is and the things that we know about it. I think you could do that kind of XCOM style game. Now, for a dream game where you didn't have to give a shit about budget, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted, I think something of a scale of Total War would be amazing. That would be something where obviously the world was hugely expanded upon, way beyond what we currently know. Timeline wise, it would probably be set during a massive incursion from the Gate of Inferno, and then you could have your world map, and you're vying for control of all these areas, you're fighting the battles, you're managing your armies, you're trying to save this base and that base because they produce X or Y, they're very important to the war effort. Those kind of things would be superb and incredibly interesting, I think. And that would just be my dream game. Why? Because it would not just follow that pattern of games that I really love. I really enjoy the Total War games, but it would give that opportunity to massively expand upon the world, tell a lot of stories. We'd get that kind of, at the very least, we'd get that theater of action map, if not a full world map. You could see enormously expanded units. You could see those big things like the there's the big tanks in the background of some of the art that we have, and there's the destroyed mechs and things like that. They could explore things just on such a huge scale. Imagine a kind of a flesh titan created by Jabirian alchemists would be pretty dope. Just fleets of New Antioch jets bombing the shit out of the battlefield, and enormous just thrall mobs wandering across, all slimy and stuff, and the Hesseraks and the hegemons and all that kind of stuff wandering around. I think it would just be really quite striking and interesting and yeah, engaging. So that, I think, would be my dream game. I think you could have a huge amount of fun after a universe had been very much expanded. I don't know. A part of me is extremely interested in the idea of like a first-person shooter from the point of view of a New Antioch shock trooper or something like that. But I don't know if that would be like way too limited and obviously incredibly big budget. But maybe we could do like, if in a world where these kinds of things could happen, there's been a huge resurgence of what we would term the boomer shooter. That kind of Unreal, Doom, Quake vibe, like a bolt gun from the recent bolt gun game for Warhammer 40k is a really good example, and a lot of stuff like Dusk and things like that have come out over recent years. That might be tremendous fun as well, especially given the creature design of the monsters and stuff like that. I think would look amazing in that like low polygon style. I think would just be incredibly interesting and a lot of fun to play and watch and have like really good pace, and it'd be a high skill thing, high skill floor type of game, as boomer shooters tend to be. So yeah, they're like, as I said, this is just an interesting video. I needed to make this video because I had to get these thoughts out of my head, or I can't like move on with my day. Basically, it's early here. It's far earlier than I normally make a video, and I haven't even managed to like work out or anything, because I keep sitting around daydreaming about Trench Crusade videos. So I wanted to make this, pop it up, see what your thoughts are. So yeah, that's it for this stupid video. I hope you're all having a lovely time. It is highly likely over the next 24 to 48 hours that the channel will hit 50,000 subs, which feels crazy. And just thank you all so much for tuning in and watching and sharing your passion for this hobby for me. I've actually been really struggling over the last couple of days to keep up with the comments, because I think there's been something like 1,600 comments made on various videos over the last, I think, 72 hours or something like that, which is crazy to me. So I can't respond to everybody, but when I see something that really tickles me and I have time in between my day job, I do, and will always find time to talk to people in the comments. I really, truly appreciate it. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and sláinte.